All right, happy Friday. Welcome to the live stream, Aaron. It's great to see you, my man.
Tony, good to see you, bud.
I'm looking at this background of yours. I'm like, is that like a real I mean, is this like your real new life? That looks like way too
Well,
cool.
if you saw the whole thing, you'd see a lot of construction and boxes, and we just are in the process of moving in now. Finally got the house rebuilt after the fire, so it's been 3 years
What?
coming. But yeah,
I wait, how wait, why did I not know this? You experienced a fire?
yeah, the CZU lightning fires here in Santa Cruz burned our property, everything, lost everything for
Oh man.
20 years worth of blood, sweat, and tears. But we're back now, V2.
Version 2, hey, maybe version 3. I mean, well, that's a story for another time. I guess you just add that to your long list of challenges as entrepreneur, right? Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild.
That's
never,
right. That's
never
right.
stop, right?
Never stops.
So,
Never stops. Got to keep moving forward.
uh, all right. So, look, we had a podcast. It's been about a year. It's been way too long for us to kind of catch up. We've been
Yep.
doing some series, Aaron, on how entrepreneurs, how founders are really supporting their brands, in retail. But before we kind of jump into that, because I kind of want to pick your brain around that, checking out your LinkedIn profile, looks like you're highlighting something new, maybe Hawaiian nectar.
Yeah, we just launched FitAid Hawaiian Nectar, which is a flavor iteration off of our, FitAid recovery SKU, and it's just hitting out of the park. I mean, I read all the reviews that come in. I have every single one's been positive, best flavor yet. We sent out some seeding kits to influencers that went over very well, so we're really excited about that. With our very robust direct to consumer, direct to gym business, we're able to launch new SKUs and recognize revenue immediately at a decent margin. So, quite a bit different than the typical retail landscape where with all the deductions and all those type of things, it can be a little bit more
Right.
challenging to get
To get it
an
in, just even
ROI.
get it in.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
to
so
even
what's
get it
the
in and
base?
get return.
Yeah. So, like, what's the
It,
base flavor on that?
it's a POG, so uh, passion fruit orange guava. Kind of the taste of the
Passion fruit
islands
orange.
there. Yeah.
I tell you, the imagery you've got going there too, very, very Hawaiian, with the beach and they kind of, I'm not sure what kind of flowers those are, kind of native to Hawaii. It's got a definitely a good vibe.
Yeah, our CMO Emily did a great job with it, and the whole marketing team. I love it because it's kind of like a whole retro, 1950s
Yes.
Elvis look to it. So yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
let me see if I can do a quick screen share. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's see if I can get this to work here. Let's see. Yes, here's your. It's not going to be a huge image here, but you can kind of see that retro you got there. That's nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. So, are you still into CrossFit yourself? Because I know you guys kind of started, in that whole CrossFit gym, that movement. Are you still doing the grind in the box?
Yeah, we've got a box that we built out at our HQ, so it gets used regularly by our team, and I'm in there most days of the week and doing workouts and WODs, and yeah, it's a
Well, you've
great
got
little
your own
facility.
box.
Yeah, we've
That's
got our own. We
hardcore.
we built
That's
it.
hardcore.
Yeah, we actually built that before we even built our headquarters. So that was the first thing. That
Priorities.
was
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. I
Well, I
did.
mean, look, we're a health and wellness brand, and so
That's
encouraging
right.
people to eat clean and exercise is part of our DNA.
So I want to get into a little just how you are supporting your brand. You did say direct to consumer, direct to gyms, and that. So kind of walk us through that model as well. But then I also want to kind of hear how you're helping get this thing moving off the shelves.
Yeah, I mean, we've been around for 12 years now. So the first 5 years of our existence, we didn't have any retail presence whatsoever. I mean, we were selling drinks online before it was kind of the cool thing to do when people thought they couldn't be done really because it was too heavy. You
That's right.
weren't able to get trial that way. But we figured it out and we built a robust, direct to consumer and direct to gym business. And that's really in our DNA and our foundation. And we started getting, pulled into retail. I say pulled because we weren't out soliciting any retail at the time. It was a divisional buyer at Whole Foods brought us into our first Whole Foods division because he happened to be an adamant CrossFitter, and we were sold at his CrossFit
Mm,
gym, and thought, so that was one of our first retail relationships. And we
that's a good one to
continued
have too.
yeah, yeah, totally. And that ended up going from one division of Whole Foods to Whole Foods Global. And then we got, started knocking down retailers like Vitamin Shop and Sprouts, and then, on the natural side of things. And then, started focusing more on traditional grocery.
You've even made it all the way out to where I am, which is I'm in the middle of nowhere, Western North Carolina. I think I was telling you this offline. Um, it's been absolutely pouring cats and dogs here today, so I did not make it into town. I was going to see if I could find a couple here for the show today, but I literally I couldn't even get it out. But there's a little coffee shop that opened up, and we wanted to go in and support the place. And literally here, middle of nowhere, I look over in this one little cabinet where they're highlighting like their favorite beverages. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" There was Fit Aid
Yeah,
in there. I was
yeah.
like, "Way to go, Aaron!" Or
It's
your
still cool
partners,
for me when, traveling around the
right?
country, and
Gotta
even
be.
the world now, and seeing, someone wearing our shirt or someone grabbing a can at the checkout station, and
And you're
it's just
like,
it's
it's
fun.
I thought that probably feels better than in some ways, you know, the money because it's tangible. You see it.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
impacting.
we're having a positive impact on people's
Exactly.
health. I mean, if you think about it, before this movement towards functional beverages, and just looking at, you basically had, carbonated soft drinks for the last 100 years, right? And then for the
Mhm.
last, 30, 40 years, we had energy drinks. Nobody's drinking either of those two categories for health reasons. I mean, CSDs, carbonated soft drinks, forever were super high sugar and,
Yep.
moderate caffeine hit. And then you got all the artificial sweeteners came along, like aspartame and sucralose, which we all know sucralose kills your gut microbiome. New studies now, it even alters your DNA. So it's like
Oh,
when
I
we
didn't
came
hear about that
around.
one.
Oh yeah,
That's
got
awful.
published like 10 days ago now. Yeah, check it out. Just type in sucralose DNA and see what comes up.
Yeah, we'll have to actually
But
maybe tag that and put that in the in the live stream follow up on that. If people want to
totally,
research that.
totally. Yeah. But this movement, we were on the forefront of, function forward products, and not only just function forward, like Focus Aid for brain health or Fit Aid for post workout recovery, but doing so in a very clean, responsible way, using natural caffeine from like sources like green tea or yerba mate instead of synthetic caffeine that comes from these gigafactories overseas. It's made with industrial chemicals, nasty stuff. We use natural sweeteners like raw organic agave and stevia and monk fruit instead of the artificial sweeteners, which,
Yeah.
trust me, 20 years from now, they won't even be used anymore. We're going to be looking at those artificial sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame the same way we look at asbestos and lead in our paint.
Right, like a
It's like
poison.
horrible for
It's
health.
yeah,
Poison.
exactly. Yeah.
Actually, the European equivalent of the FDA is going to be banning uh, aspartame completely. I think next week, as early as next week. So, the U.S. is a little behind on a lot of this stuff, and
Right,
we're
but
still
you were ahead of
following
the
a food
curve.
pyramid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you said, of course, you've got DTC. You started that back when that was not really in vogue. Now that's how a lot of brands do start. And then you had
yeah.
DTC or just direct to gyms. So in the gyms, do you have those little micro freezers or refrigerators set up, kind of branded? What's the philosophy in there?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of our refrigerators placed all over the country. Tens of thousands of them. And the bigger gyms now and the chains, they all have their own, refrigeration, or their distributor gives them refrigeration. So, we're
Hmm.
easy to work with, whether you want to work through distribution, use an existing fridge, use our fridge. We make it as turnkey as possible for our
I tell you
customers.
what I like about that is that it signals immediately to the consumer that this is a special drink. When you find it in a gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, we
Right?
love
It's
label
tailor
reviews,
made.
they're our favorite people that are educated on health and nutrition, that care what they put in their body. What we put in our body directly reflects how we show up in the world. It's like we were in golf for a long time with LifeAID and, dealing with the PGA. You never see a PGA Tour player out there drinking a 12-pack of beer during the round. Why? Because it negatively affects how they show up, how they play, how they their ability to focus and that kind of thing. So creating
John
products
Daly
that
might
actually,
disagree with you, but go
well,
ahead.
yeah, he's the only one. Well, I don't think he's still drinking while he plays. He'll drink the night before a fifth, and he'll drink right after. But our
Maybe in
products are
the
all about up
pro-ams.
leveling your
Right.
game.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
really, maybe.
Right, with a cigarette
But
dangling. Anyway, sorry. The images of John Daly are so classic. But you're right.
so
You're
yeah.
right. That page has been turned. But I think that just kind of signals to the marketplace, and then when they go to the grocery store, they also see it there on the shelf. So you've got the new flavor out there, Hawaiian Nectar. Is that going to be found in retail, or is that right now just in the gyms?
It's found in some retail. Yeah, we have a great relationship and partnership with Sprouts. So if you go to your local Sprouts right now, you'll see Fit Aid Hawaiian Nectar, one of the only retailers that we've plugged this limited time offer
Mm.
into. So you see that on end cap displays at all your Sprouts nationwide. Also HEB for your Texans out there. Great partner for us, a very long-standing partner. You'll see Hawaiian Nectar in HEB as well, and then some other channels like Lifetime Fitness, which is a very high-end athletic
Yep.
club. See some
Yep. Yep.
Lifetime
We've got those
Fitness.
in Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah, we're getting it plugged into the military channel, and so you'll see it in some limited distribution. But really, we're only distributing it where we have great relationship with our partners, and we know we can continue to go deep and have a really thoughtful rollout with it.
All right. So kind of walk us through, you got the end cap. How difficult was that to get off shelf placement? What's that process? Because
Well, a
that's what
lot of these
everyone
things need to
wants.
be planned. Yeah,
That's
I
what
mean, you got
everybody wants.
things. These get planned, very far in advance. So when you're thinking about the rollout strategy, we were able to, have this great relationship with our buyer. Our other SKUs, including our new energy SKUs that we've got placed there, are doing extremely well from a velocity standpoint. So as long as you're performing and you've got that relationship, and we're able to get the pricing in order to, have a thoughtful promotion there and attract customers, then everything kind of really came together in a great way.
So so was your strategy obviously to get on the end cap, but do you do any kind of a markdown at all, as a kind of a sample it, and then when it comes off the promo, it's back on the shelf and they can find it at full retail?
Yeah, what we found, especially in today's inflationary environment and with the average retail price of most CPG products rising,
Mhm.
that you can still have a win-win, meaning it's good for the retailer, it's good for the consumer, and it's good for us as the brand. At for us, if we're like a 2.99 price point every day at a 2 for 5, we can still get a nice velocity or volume increase and get a dollar increase. See what's happening, that brands that are discounting too deep, they'll get a velocity or volume increase, but their dollars will actually go down, and that's not good for the retailer, or it's definitely not good for the brand, because you're having to absorb that delta. So if we're 2.99 every day, and you're with a retailer that needs to stay margin whole, then you're basically absorbing the entirety of that promotion. So if you're at 2 for 4, you're basically $2 a can. You're normally 3, so the brand is getting billed back $1 a can. Well, you can imagine you lose money on
It's
that
a loss.
promotion a lot of times, or a BOGO, buy one get one. You're really losing money. Then you're getting billed back $3 a can. So you see a lot of brands today repositioning and rethinking the promotional strategy, whereas this grow at all costs
Yes.
philosophy that's been in place for the last decade, everybody's getting away from that now and being much
You
more
need smart
thoughtful.
growth, right?
You need
This
smart
is what
growth,
you're
sustainable growth. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. You don't want to have just
mhm.
boom splat that costs a lot of money and then you don't have anything to show for it at the end of the day.
Well, it sounds like because, you do have the data, you've had it out on shelves now for a while, and you're a known brand. When you do hit the end cap and you've got this great new flavor, that might be enough to drive consumer adoption. Um, and of course, packaging, has a lot to do with it. And I haven't seen the end cap. I guess it has this nice, cool kind of Hawaiian. I would imagine it's got a little bit of a Hawaiian flair.
Looks great. Yeah, yeah. We got the team out putting lays on the end caps, and maybe doing a little hula dancing while they're in store. Who knows?
Oh, that's good. Maybe we should have done a live stream from one of the stores. I mean, that would have been
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
lot more
Next
entertaining than
time.
me having someone doing that. Um, so, but this is where I just kind of wanted to pick your brain for other beverages and other CPGs that are they're excited because they have gotten in the store. But as you know, that's only half or maybe 40% of the story. You're
5%.
shaking your head.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
5%.
yeah, yeah. No, it's
So
the biggest fallacy of a brand and a brand owner is, oh, we're knocking down ACV, right? We're knocking down distribution, and therefore we're winning. Absolutely not.
cool.
Absolutely not. Distribution is actually the easiest part of this game. The hardest part is getting consumer adoption, getting those cans to actually move off a shelf. And what brand owners don't realize is when you're getting into these contracts, and if you get distribution and don't sell, you don't get the velocity, you don't get the movement, and then you get discontinued, all the slotting fees that you've paid to get the right to be sold on the shelf go bye-bye, right? Um, a lot of times you're having to purchase back inventory, and there's fees
Mm,
associated with that. So you literally look at it. If you have a relation, if you get in, if you increase your distribution, it doesn't work out, then it's going to cost you way more money than any revenue that you brought in during the process of the sell-in. So yes, it's addictive. You get that dopamine hit when you're knocking down new business and you're getting these big POs
yeah.
for the first
Yeah.
purchase. But the strategy should really be focused on going deep, not wide, going as deep as possible, being very thoughtful about the rollout. Is this the right customer? Am I in the right set or commodity? Do I have the right retail price point? Uh, am I eye to thigh? Do I have the support of the buyer? Am I going to hit the velocity requirements? Have I been real thoughtful about the promotional cadence and how deep I'm going through on the promotion? There's so many other factors outside of just getting placement on shelf.
Yeah, which is why I'm amazed there's so many people that get into CPG that don't have any food experience. I feel like it's such an
Well, sometimes
expensive.
ignorance can be bliss as well, right? Like, so, for us, if we had CPG experience, we probably wouldn't be here right now because we would have went all retail right off the get-go instead of figuring out an e-commerce brand. And your
Right,
margins are way higher on an e-com brand, at least historically, maybe not so much today with logistics costs and customer
right, but they
acquisition
were.
costs going way up, but they
It was an
were,
easy
right?
place
So
to innovate and kinda just
yeah.
dial in, your customer and that story.
And all the CPG experts were telling us, well, that can't be done. You don't get trial selling online. Nobody's going to pony up $60 for a case of product online. And they the industry folks were like, that model's stupid. It doesn't work. It's never worked. Well, we proved them wrong, but we were only able to prove them wrong because we were ignorant. We didn't know any better.
Mm, good point. Yeah, I guess it's not a one size fits all. So I I just would wanted to hear just maybe some more thoughts around um, maybe what's really worked for you guys to get it moving off shelf. And I know it's probably not just one thing. It's probably just a multitude of little, little incremental things. I know you have influencers. You've got. I mean, I've seen you. You sponsor some pretty big time. I don't know if you sponsor them or they just organically, kind of promote. I mean, I know you have
They
some
all
big
start out
time.
organic, and then some of them lead to official
Okay.
relationships and that type of
Yeah,
thing.
because I've seen
How do
some
you get
big
it to?
time CrossFit people that use it.
Oh yeah,
CrossFit
yeah, yeah.
is
Well, yeah,
CrossFit Games and so on.
sure. Yeah, how do you get it to move? Well, I mean, that's the $1 million
It
question.
is.
Once
It is.
once in a blue moon, a product just gets placement on shelf and it just for whatever reason it takes off. But that's like one out of 1,000,
You
right?
can't count
Literally
on that.
one
Mm-mm.
out of 1,000. No. So all the things, a lot of things we've already discussed. It really helps if you already have an existing customer base, direct to consumer or through Amazon, or you have a massive social media presence with people following you and are interested in the brand, right? So having already pent up demand for when you do go into retail, that's always a huge factor. Number two, I'd look at, okay, what's the trade dress of the actual product look like? is it obvious what the product's for? I mean, you look at our products, we kind of broke the mold, right? Most people are like, here's Monster beverage, and then there's like 50 flavor variations. Well, we have a product called Fit Aid. Well, Fit Aid probably has something to do with fitness. A product called Focus Aid. Well, there's no ambiguity about that. Party Aid, etc. Immunity Aid, right? So
Right,
the
right.
naming convention super important. Is it intuitive or is it not intuitive?
I think
You
that's
know,
a
what's
huge
that
miss
trade?
for many brands.
Oh
Honestly, I think
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
huge
I
miss.
mean,
If
there's
you have to
brands out
stop and
there and you
think,
read it
what
and you,
is that?
yeah,
You've already lost
yeah,
them. If a question
right,
comes into the mind, you're
yeah. You have
okay.
seconds to capture their
It's
attention,
frightening. It's
right?
frightening. Yeah.
So I look at similar to digital marketing, right? The whole purpose of a subject line in an email is to get the person to open the email. That's it. That's the only purpose of the subject line. And then the copy, the body of the email needs to get them to take whatever action you'd like them to take. It's the same thing with trade dress on a can. It's like the trade dress has to at least have that moment where they stop and they're and pique enough curiosity for them to grab the can and go, okay, what is this all about? And then most a lot of brands don't think about, does it fit your criteria of purchase? Okay. We all
What does
have a
that mean?
criteria of purchase. It means it means that when I'm looking at a product, there's specific things that I'm looking for that either will qualify it that this is a product that I'm willing to try or not. Like for me, my number one criteria of purchase is, does it contain artificial sweeteners? If
Oh,
there's any
okay. Gotcha.
sucralose or
Gotcha.
aspartame in there, I'm not buying the product. It gives me a
The
headache. I know
why.
it's detrimental to your health, right?
It's the why
So people are
behind their
looking at
buying.
sugar contents big for
Right.
people. In the old days, people would look for saturated fat or trans fats, right? Servings per container, artificial dyes, all these type
Just
carb
general
count.
calorie count based on serving
Yeah,
size,
yeah,
something
absolutely.
like
So
that.
what's your
If you're trying
criteria
to,
of purchase?
got it, got it.
And so you need to be able to know who your avatar is, who you're
Yep. Ideal
marketing to, who
customer
you're
profile.
talking
Hmm.
to, customer profile, and then make sure that it's fitting that customer's criteria of purchase.
Which is where I think when you went DTC to start, you were able to really, really crystallize that because
Yeah,
you knew.
absolutely. We do a lot
And
of customer surveys and get feedback, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the big question people have too is, where do they start? I've got friends who have started listening to the podcast and now they want to start brands and they ask me these questions all the time. Where do I start? Do I start in DTC? Do I start in retail? And it's hard for I can't give them a definitive answer, but I do like the idea of DTC because you can dial everything in and like you say, kind of get that pent up demand. And you said because you started DTC, I would imagine too, you have an idea where the zip codes are. So that could even give you an idea, right? You smiled. And I
Totally.
think that,
Oh yeah.
right? Because now you know.
100%. Now you can geo target. You can say, hey, maybe it makes sense to go into this retailer because
Bingo.
50% of our customers live in this state and this particular zip code does really well for us. Yeah. And then you can dial in your metrics
Yeah, I
more
like that.
so than any other platform because, more and more platforms are really limiting, the information that you have available.
Oh, that is, yeah, that's actually a good point. That's a good point. Privacy and maybe trade secrets. I don't know what other reasons why they hold it back. But I guess that just goes back to, picking the right partner too, you know,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
had said from the beginning. Well, that's
Totally.
great. Now I know you probably have bigger plans and dreams. I'm curious, are there other like line extensions or other SKUs that I mean, I'm not asking you for any, major announcements here, but are you going to be are you going to get into food? Are you going to do anything different? Are you guys just going to stick in beverage? What's going on?
Well, I mean, look, our name is LifeAid. We our trademarks the red ID with the cross and the D. I mean, that could play to a lot of different things, a lot of different use occasions. We've taken some of our top selling RTD beverages and we've put them in a powder stick format so people can just put them in their
Mm,
water bottle and they're good on the go. You can travel with them.
I
We did
like
have
that.
we did have a protein food pouch for a period of time, which was a great product, but we're not a food company, so dealing with the cost of goods and manufacturing challenges and that kind of thing, we
Co-packing and
don't.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that was a great product. So, there's a lot of places we can go, but right now we're super focused on continuing to go deep with our Fit Aid line. our post-workout recovery line, doing some flavor iterations, which historically we had never done. We never had a flavor iteration of any of our core SKUs for like 10 years, 8 years, something like that. And so we didn't even have the flavors on the can for a long time. It was just straight function forward. So now, focusing on, well, we know that we've got an existing customer base. We know they want some flavor iterations to keep things fresh and new things to try. And I think Hawaiian Nectar is just a great testament to,
It looks
that's
good.
the success of that strategy. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find that. I'm actually heading down to Atlanta in a couple of weeks, and you said Sprouts, so I'll
Yeah.
have to go check
Yeah.
that
Pop
out.
into Sprouts.
And I'm gonna let's see if there's someone there, waiting at the end cap with a Hawaiian. We're gonna say
Well,
probably not, but
give you a Mai Tai too, maybe.
there you go, there you go. Well, listen, I think it's great. I love the product. Like I said, I buy it and I use it when I can find it. I don't have the best location up here to get this, but I think when we talked last on the podcast, you made some kind of interesting comment, like you were a 10-year-old startup. You kind of felt like that. I feel like you're a little beyond that now. Think we've
We're much more mature as a business than we've ever been. We brought in a rock star CFO a couple years ago who's really helped us get more financially disciplined than we've ever been. We're EBITDA positive on our run rate right now. We've continued to go really deep with retail partners that make sense, that believe in the
yeah,
brand, where there's a win-win relationship. We've unwound some toxic relationships on the retail side of things, and
that's smart.
we're in a great position as a brand to help weather the impending storm that we're kind of in the middle of. And yeah, we're excited. We got a great team together. Our sales force is great. Our marketing team's doing great. Customer service has always been cranking. Our logistics team's top notch. So
And
we've got
everyone's in
just a great
and
group.
everyone's fit. They're down in the box doing daily wads.
We're fit. I'll put us up there as one of the most fit companies out there for sure.
I'm gonna say I will not take that bet. I mean, if you have a
We've got a guy on
box
our team, Jake, who can squat like 600 pounds, front squat. It's crazy. His legs
front
are this
squat,
big.
good lord, they're like tree trunks.
Tree
Um,
trunks.
I was in CrossFit for, I don't know, 6 months, maybe 9 months, and I got in the best shape of my life. That is,
Yeah.
it's pretty hardcore, and I love how they've named a lot of the WODs after veterans and fallen, veterans. It's a very patriotic kind of vibe in there. Very, very independent, very fierce.
Yeah. I mean, look,
It's a
it's a
good,
great
it's a
methodology to get in shape.
yeah, it
There's a
is.
lot of methodologies out there that work. They all work. And even now, if you look at modern CrossFit, like 10 years ago, you never saw bench press as an exercise in CrossFit. Now it's showing up. It's like there's so much
Oh, it wasn't
integration.
much for us either. Yeah, it was like
Yeah. Yeah.
very minimal.
Yeah.
Same
Now
with
we're
biceps,
borrowing from
very, very, very
powerlifting and
little.
bodybuilding. Yeah.
Yeah, a
Even
lot of Olympic
global
style
gyms have
lifting.
CrossFit style workouts now inside of a Globo gym, a more traditional gym where they have functional training and maybe they've got some platforms set up. And so it's all kind of merging
It
together.
is. Yeah, you'll start to see, like, you see all the kettlebells, you see the wall
Yeah.
balls, you see
Yep.
the ropes, you're starting to see
Yep.
a lot of that kind
Yep.
of stuff,
Power ropes. Yeah.
it kind of cross over. Aaron, great catching up with you. It's good to pick in your brain. Again, there's no silver bullet, is there? There is no silver bullet to get people to go try.
It's got a longevity in the game, super important. The longer you can stay on shelf, the more adoption and trial you'll get. You
Mhm.
got to be very thoughtful about what you say yes to. You should be saying no, really, even more so than you say yes to things. And keeping
Words to live
discipline to the
by.
plan. Yeah,
Words to live by. I've got a podcast coming out in a couple weeks where Aaron, we literally talked about smart growth and saying no. So you are very, very, you're tuned in with what we've been talking about.
great.
So again, quick highlight of some of the retailers that people can go and check this out.
I mean, just for the brand in general, you can find us nationwide. Whole Foods, Sprouts, Vitamin Shop. If you're on
Got
the
it.
the West Coast, Rayleigh's, Nob Hill, HEB, Publix, you name it, Wegmans, etc.
Right. We have Publix out here out south too. So that's awesome.
All
All
right.
right, my man. Great seeing you again. We're gonna have to go out and try this Hawaiian nectar and
Yeah.
give that a
Call it the
try.
nectar of the gods.
Nectar of the gods. All right, man. You have a great Friday. Well, it's good seeing you.
Thanks, Tony. See ya.